Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidati wa Sadati, Ahlan wa Sahlan. This is just a greeting in Arabic, and the video of course is going to be in English. I'm wearing the traditional Arabic clothing typically worn in the Arabic Peninsula, which is called abaya. And if you are a cabin crew that is going to be working or thinking to work in the Middle East for a Middle Eastern airline, this is the type of clothing that you're going to be very often seeing on board as well as outside. I have in my collection few abayas. Today I'm wearing the winter version of it because I live in Germany currently, and it's very dear to me. While I was living in Doha, I was very happily wearing this type of clothing because I really like the elegance that it's emitting when I'm wearing it, as well as the comfort. Let's go to the subject on what this video is going to be about. Now, in today's video, we're going to be discussing about the subject of how does the English test during your assessment day looks like, as well as the group discussion. I have prepared in further on of this video what types of questions most probably, or how the questions will be looking like. I would like to also clarify the reason why you have been tested during your assessment day and the importance of being fluent in English. As you all know that your entire career as a cabin crew in the Middle East for a Middle Eastern airline is in English, starting from your training and going further on with your flying career, with your progress, so on and so forth. Therefore, being fluent in English and being able to write good English is very important. I have prepared, as I said, few of the questions that the type of the questions that you might be getting. But one thing we must understand is that you cannot know the questions that are gonna come up on the exam. For the simple reason is because the candidates, while answering this question and while working on this test, are not allowed to use their mobile phones, and of course it's not professional while you have been tested to click a picture on what you are writing, what you're reading. So this type of questions, I've made them upon my research and upon what I have remembered, what I was answering 10 years ago when I was recruited as a cabin crew. One thing that you shouldn't be afraid of is that the questions are not hard. If you have been studying English in school, it's going to be pretty easy. But if you have learned English only from the internet or from the TV, you might find it difficult. Now it's completely the level of understanding and the level of learning English for each candidate, it's really differs from person to person. You will see the question and you will get an idea what types of questions will be, and later on we're gonna continue with the group discussion and what type of topics the group discussion is going to include, and as well as what are the recruiters looking for while you guys are discussing these topics. So let's start with the English test and how the English test might look like. This is a sample English fluency test. This type of tests are usually not timed, but you should work quickly and accurately. There is always one correct answer. Input only one option out of the 4 for each question. Now, another type of English test that can be included is the test where you have a text. You're supposed to read this text with a certain time frame of 3 to 5 minutes, depends. And later on, you have questions that you should answer. But the answers of those questions, they are coming out from the text itself, and there is a multiple choice where if you read the text carefully, you are going to be able to recognize the correct answer. So going on with the video, I'm going to show you an example of a test and the question that might come up, the way the question might look like from that text, and I hope this is going to be useful and it's going to help you with your further English test during your assessment day. Mona was on home standby when she received a phone call from scheduling telling her that she would be needed to work on a QR 124 from Doha to Melbourne. She had 2 hours to get to the airport to report for her flight. Mona arrived at the airport at 7:15 a.m. with just 18 minutes to spare. She checked in and made her way to briefing room 15, where she would meet the rest of her crew. Henry was the purser on this 13-hour flight. He told Mona that she would be working economy along with Charlotte, Mohammed, Craig and Christy. When Mona got to the plane, she checked her equipment at door 3L and reported her checks to Zen. She would be looking after 46 passengers on this flight, and there were 19 special meals to get ready. Mona looked over the meal choice, a chicken casserole or a vegetarian lasagna. During the flight, Mona had to wait until the second break before she could go to the crew rest compartment and get some much-needed rest. Mona handed over to Charlotte, who had been on her first break. She told her about the passenger in seat 45K who wanted to buy some duty-free. The passenger wanted to buy a specific type of perfume, but if this wasn't available, she would make do with a pink lip gloss that was on offer. When Mona returned from her break, she had 30 minutes to help Mohammed get the second service ready in the second from last galley. Unfortunately, Mona and her colleagues had to stop the second meal service after heavy turbulence was experienced. The turbulence went on for 50 minutes, but Mona did her best to calm her passengers. Once they have landed in Melbourne, the aircraft made its way stand 34. The taxi to the gate was quite short, only taking about 5 minutes. Mona was super eager to get to the hotel, and they arrived at their city center hotel about 1.5 hours after arrival. Mona couldn't think of nothing better than to go straight to bed, but first she had to Skype her family back home in Morocco. The following types of questions can pop up. How long did Mona have to get to the airport when she was called by scheduling? 2.5 hours, 1.5 hour, 1 hour, or 2 hours? What briefing room did Mona have to go to after she checked in? Briefing room 10, 1, 5, or 15? How long was the flight going to take from Doha to Melbourne? 13, 14 hours, 4 hours, or 24 hours? In which country did Mona's family live? Iceland, Australia, Morocco, or England? What did the passenger in seat 45K want to buy if the perfume she wanted was out of stock? A pink lip gloss, a red lip gloss, a red lipstick, a pink lipstick. Now, please bear in mind that if you read the text carefully, you will be able to recognize the correct answer of all the options offered. Therefore, concentrate and focus, please. Another type of test of the English testing can be writing an essay on a particular subject. If you have given this type of test that you're supposed to write a few sentences of a particular subject, I would give you a tip. Make sure that the sentences are very well understandable. You use short sentences. You don't use complicated sentences to describe, for example, yourself, to introduce yourself, to write about your what are you interested in, in life, what are your hobbies. Please bear in mind that you should not go so much around the bush, any subject that they might give you, and try to be concise, try to be precise while writing. And this kind of test purely depends on your ability to be good in English writing. As I told you before, the tips, if you're not so good with English writing, try exploring the internet, try reading as much as you can English books, and try writing at the same time. Give yourself a topic that you, for example, as I mentioned, you would like to introduce yourself. Practice how you will introduce yourself while writing. The entire career as a cabin crew and a flight attendant depends on your ability to be fluent in English. Therefore, if you are not fluent in English, please start working on this from now on. And if you are dedicated to it, definitely in future, this kind of English testing during your assessment day, it's going to be very easy and a very pleasant experience for you. Very often I receive messages such as, my English level is very, very poor, I'm unable to communicate fluent in English. Do you have any tips for me on how I can improve my English? Definitely subscribing to English classes is going to be very helpful. Depends on the budget that you want to invest in learning English, but of course internet has a lot of possibilities, a lot of chances, and a lot of different types of learning English. So one thing I would suggest is watch movies without a translation, only with the English subtitles. The other thing is speak the language. Find someone who speaks only English and try to practice. The more you speak the language, the better you're gonna learn. And number 3, which helped me really a lot become fluent in English, is reading books in English. I almost forgot to read books in Macedonian, my mother language. 90% of the books that I'm reading is in English. That's how you are going to make your vocabulary when you speak English very rich, as well as this type of English test that's going to come up on the assessment day. It's going to be very, very easy for you. Now we go to the second part, which is the group discussion. After you have passed, hopefully it's successfully the English test, you go to the next level, which is called the group discussion. What do recruiters look while there is a group discussion? The topics that are coming out during the group discussion are changing every time. You don't get the same topic that you have gotten it if you applied 6 months ago, or if you have gotten the same topic, then it's fair enough and you've been just lucky. But those topics are very general. 10 years ago, when I was doing the group discussion, we were divided into several groups of 8 people. In each group, we were sitting on separate tables, and we had a topic to discuss, which was which nationality, 3 nationalities we want to be, and which 3 nationalities we don't want to be. We had to decide which participant in the group is going to be a spokesperson for this matter, and we got 7 minutes to make a conclusion on this subject. Now, you should not be worried about what you're gonna say and which nationality you're gonna choose to be and which nationality you're gonna say that I don't want to be, because these are not the primary things that our recruiters looking at. First, they are monitoring, are you able to check the time management, because you have been given 7 minutes, and they're looking for the candidates who don't forget about the time, because the airline business and the airline industry depends on seconds, minutes, and those are very, very important. Therefore, cabin crew who are the future cabin crew must be able to calculate the proper time management and must never forget when they're doing something that there is a time frame for the thing to be conducted. In this case, this is the group discussion. Later on, what I observed and during my researches and my studies, what I have learned is that the recruiters are looking for various characteristics in your character. There are candidates who immediately shine up as leaders. And very often, if you have been the leader or the spokesperson, you might have not been selected. And believe me, the recruiters are not looking only for leaders. They're looking for leaders, they're looking for followers, and they're looking for motivators, because the person who is just sitting and just says 2 or 3 words that are very, very important might be the person who's going to say the most important thing on the subject. In this case, I just talked to you, it was the nationalities that you want to be or the nationalities that you don't want to be. Also, I have read that they are quite often asking which 3 powerful person in the world you want to be and give a reason why. It's not very important, as I said, what you're gonna say. It's important how you're gonna put your opinion to be listened, how you're gonna influence others to listen to your opinion, and how well you listen to the other people when they're sharing their opinion. And do you, at the end of every discussion, if you don't agree, the famous subject, the famous topic, and the famous sentence that I love to say, at the end of the day, when we don't agree, we have to agree to disagree. Conflicts in the airline industry are of high importance to be avoided. Therefore, when the recruiters are looking for and monitoring while you are doing your group discussion, you're writing your points, they're actually looking how much you are able to value, to listen the other person's opinion, even in the situation when that opinion is different than yours. Now, there are a few tips that I can give you when it comes to group discussion. And the number 1 tip, which I think it's important, is try to learn the names of the colleagues that you are together in the group having the discussion. While talking to them, address them by their names. Believe me, the recruiters going around will be noticing this type of details that you are maintaining, and it's going to be a really plus point for you. Another thing is be initiative in taking participation in the discussion, but remember, you must be able to talk quality over quantity, not just by talking something or just like mentioning for the sake of mentioning. Find a subject or a topic that in your entire subject that has not been elaborated, or you think it's important, and make sure that you mention this. Of course, do not cut the other person when it's talking, and find the correct time to interfere and to participate during the discussion. Be active in the group. Of course, you are not just backing off, sitting and waiting for the topic to be finished. You are actively participating by noting, by writing down, by suggesting, and of course, all the time bear in mind listening first when another person is speaking before later on interfering and showing your opinion. Always, always, always monitor the time. Of course, you're going to be wearing a watch, that's very important, and always make sure that you are monitoring the time so you're not losing those minutes, and you are being able to check the time frame and to remind the group how much time is left for the group discussion. The last 2 also important parts is to be yourself. Do not fake your politeness, do not fake your attitude during the group discussion. Believe me, the recruiters are very experienced when it comes to cabin crew recruitment. They are very much able to see whether you are naturally polite and whether you're a natural leader, follower, motivator, or you're just being faking it during the entire process. Last but not the least, please show that you have fun with these people, that you enjoy, even though they are strangers to you. You have learned their names, as I mentioned before, but show that you enjoy being with them. If you stick to this frame that I have given you, I can assure you that you're gonna make success out of it, and working on your confidence, working on your personality will definitely bring you to the desired results. سيدتي وسادتي, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for me today. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe on my channel for the new videos that are coming out very soon with a very interesting subjects upon your request, of course. I'm gonna keep on talking to you on my Instagram account and on my email address. Until then, please stay blessed. And it's time for me to have my Arabic coffee along with the dates, and I'm gonna be seeing you very soon. Ma salama and bye bye.